Every night, at exactly the same time, billions of people perform a universal human ritual. You walk into your bedroom, reach out, and turn off the light switch. You believe that sleep is a simple mechanical process, like shutting down a computer. But human biology does not possess an off switch. You crawl under the heavy sheets, rest your head on the pillow, and close your eyes. The external world instantly vanishes. There are no more text messages to reply to, no work emails to scan, and no street noises to distract you. You are finally in total silence. For the first few minutes, the transition feels peaceful. Your heart rate begins to drop to its resting baseline of 60 beats per minute. Your muscles lose their tension, and your breathing slows. You tell yourself that within seconds, you will drift into deep, restorative sleep. But sleep is not a passive state of nothingness. It is an active, highly demanding metabolic transition. As your conscious ego begins to step back, the physical architecture of your brain undergoes a sudden, violent reorganization of its electrical pathways. And then, without warning, an invisible switch flips inside your skull. Your eyes snap wide open, staring blankly at the pitch-black ceiling. The comfortable warmth of your bed is instantly replaced by a cold wave of unexplained alertness surging through your central nervous system. Suddenly, you aren't thinking about rest. Your mind drags you back to a random Tuesday in 2018, forcing you to vividly reconstruct an awkward handshake, a misspelled email, or a minor social rejection that everyone else on Earth forgot years ago. You feel the physical cost of these thoughts, a sudden heavy tightness in your chest, a subtle tremor in your hands, and a sharp artificial spike in your adrenaline. The quiet room around you no longer feels safe. The silence has become loud, heavy, and hostile. You turn onto your side, look at the glowing numbers of the clock, and ask yourself, why am I doing this to myself right now? Why is my own mind actively sabotaging my ability to survive tomorrow? The unsettling truth is, you aren't doing this to yourself. You are not the author of these intrusive thoughts. You are merely their captive audience. Behind the curtain of your consciousness, a giant, cold biological mechanism has just taken control of your brain. To understand why your brain turns against you in the dark, we have to look at how this machine was built. For nearly 99% of human history, evolutionary success had absolutely nothing to do with happiness, peace of mind, or getting 8 hours of comfortable sleep. In the Pleistocene epoch, darkness did not represent comfort or a cozy bedroom. It represented a state of extreme vulnerability. The moment the sun went down, the ancient landscape became a hunting ground for nocturnal predators who could see perfectly in the dark. Our ancestors who slept deeply and peacefully through the night did not pass on their genes. They were simply eaten. Survival was a privilege reserved exclusively for the anxious, the hyper-vigilant, and the deeply paranoid. The humans who survived were those whose brains remained in a state of high alert, constantly scanning the silent shadows for the snap of a twig or the silhouette of a hiding predator. Security was bought at the cost of constant, internal terror. Today, your modern bedroom has reinforced walls, a locked door, and heating. The physical predators of the ancient wild are completely gone. Yet, the old survival program running on the organic computer inside your skull has not received an update in 50,000 years. Your brain has a massive reservoir of biological anxiety, but absolutely zero real physical threats to process. It looks around the quiet room, finds no wolves, no tigers, and no immediate dangers, and is deeply unsettled by this lack of input. Because a quiet brain is a vulnerable brain, your survival mechanism refuses to stay idle. It begins to manufacture artificial threats out of your modern abstract daily life, to give its anxiety a concrete target. In a bizarre biological translation, your brain treats a late-night worry about your bank account or a weird tone in a text message, exactly like it used to treat a tiger rustling in the bushes. It replaces physical threats with social ones. But this evolutionary glitch is merely the top layer of the problem. To truly understand why the night feels so terrifying, we have to look at what happens when your brain is forced to look at itself. During the day, your mind is protected by an invisible, highly effective cognitive shield. From the moment you wake up, your sensory organs are bombarded by millions of signals. The glare of your smartphone, the bitter taste of coffee, the roar of traffic, and the complex social demands of your workplace. You are constantly answering messages, listening to podcasts, navigating traffic, and making micro-decisions. This heavy cognitive load forces your brain to prioritize immediate, practical survival tasks over internal existential dread. This massive, continuous stream of incoming data keeps your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational executive center of your brain, firmly in the driver's seat. It is highly active, consuming vast amounts of glucose to keep your behavior organized. In the year 2001, a neuroscientist named Marcus Rachel at Washington University made a highly disturbing discovery that completely revolutionized our understanding of human brain function. He placed human subjects into highly sensitive fMRI scanners and instructed them to lie perfectly still and do absolutely nothing. He wanted to measure the brain's base level of energy consumption when it was completely at rest. He logically expected that when a person stopped thinking, planning, and reacting, their overall brain activity would drop into a quiet, low-energy, sleep-like state. Instead, the data showed a massive, highly coordinated spike in metabolic energy. When people did absolutely nothing, specific interconnected regions of their brain actually worked harder than when they were solving complex mathematical equations. Reichel had discovered what he famously termed the brain's dark energy, a massive hidden neural network that ignites the very second you stop interacting with the outside world. In modern neuroscience, this system is known as the default mode network, or the DMN. Despite making up only 2% of your body's total mass, the active default mode network consumes up to 20% of your body's entire metabolic energy. It is an incredibly expensive machine to run. When you close your eyes to sleep, you are not entering a state of rest. You are stepping directly into a high-powered, energy-hungry virtual reality simulation of your own personal flaws, social anxieties, and existential dread. If the default mode network was acting alone, you might be able to handle it. But it doesn't work in isolation. It has a direct, hardwired connection to a much older, far more dangerous biological neighbor. Tucked deep inside your temporal lobes is the amygdala, the brain's ancient emotional alarm system responsible for processing fear, rage, and immediate survival threats. During the day, your rational prefrontal cortex keeps the amygdala in check, balancing its primitive fear signals with logical, real-world context. The scale of your mind remains relatively stable, but as sleep expert Matthew Walker notes, a sleep-deprived or pre-sleep brain suffers from a severe breakdown in this communication. Without the active supervision of the prefrontal cortex, your amygdala becomes up to 60% more reactive to negative thoughts. So when your high-powered default mode network pulls up a random painful memory of an old social failure or a future financial worry, the hyper-reactive, uninhibited amygdala misinterprets this mental projection as an immediate physical threat to your survival. It slams down on the biological panic button. The human nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real physical crisis and a hypothetical late-night thought. To your body, the threat is entirely real. Your brain floods your bloodstream with adrenaline, your heart rate increases, your pupils dilate, and your muscles tense. To your biology, a simple worry about your job feels exactly like being hunted by a pack of wolves. This is the ultimate invisible trap of the modern world. You spend hours staring into the dark, desperately trying to find a logical solution to your career, your relationships, or your finances, hoping that if you solve the puzzle, your mind will finally let you rest. But you are trying to solve a purely chemical problem, using logical thinking. You cannot reason your way out of an evolutionary reflex. The equation, A plus B equals C, does not apply to a brain flooded with survival hormones. The terrifying thoughts are not arriving because your life is in ruins. The thoughts are arriving simply because your room is quiet, the lights are out, and your brain's default machine is doing exactly what it was engineered to do. It forces you to look at the dark shadows in your life, because for hundreds of thousands of years, looking away from the shadows meant instant death. So the next time you find yourself awake at 3 a.m, paralyzed by a sudden wave of existential dread, do not fight the thoughts. Take a deep breath, look at the silence around you, and recognize the biological illusion for what it is. You are not failing. You are simply safe.